Most people still think crypto regulation is just politicians arguing in circles while nothing actually changes. But honestly, what is happening right now in Washington could end up becoming one of the most important moments in crypto's history. Because the Clarity Act just took a major step forward in Congress, and for the first time in years, the crypto industry is getting closer to actual regulatory structure in the United States. Now, if you are newer to crypto, here is why this matters so much. For years, one of the biggest problems in the industry has been uncertainty. Companies did not know whether certain tokens would suddenly be labeled securities. Exchanges were constantly fighting regulators, and institutions hesitated because nobody knew what the long-term rules would look like. That uncertainty slowed everything down. But the Clarity Act is designed to change that. The bill would create clearer definitions around digital assets and establish which regulators oversee different parts of the crypto market, especially between the SEC and the CFTC. And honestly, this is probably one of the biggest reasons the crypto industry has been lobbying so aggressively for this legislation. Because large money hates uncertainty. Institutions do not like operating in gray areas. They want rules, they want structure, and they want predictability before deploying serious capital. Now here's the interesting part. This bill is actually getting bipartisan support. The Senate Banking Committee advanced the Clarity Act with support from all Republicans and even a couple Democrats, which is a pretty big signal considering how divided Washington usually is right now. And the market noticed immediately. Crypto-related stocks like Coinbase rallied after the committee vote because investors are starting to realize this bill could reshape the industry long-term. Now, does this mean everything suddenly goes vertical tomorrow? No. And honestly, people need to stay realistic about that. The bill still needs to pass the full Senate, then the House, and eventually get signed into law. There are also disagreements happening behind the scenes, especially around stablecoin rewards, anti-money laundering rules, and concerns about political conflicts of interest. So there is still uncertainty here. But the fact that this is moving forward at all is extremely important, because for the first time in a long time, crypto regulation in the United States is starting to look more like integration than resistance. And honestly, that changes the psychology of the market, because once institutions believe crypto has a stable regulatory path forward, participation becomes easier to justify internally. That means more investment products, more adoption, more infrastructure, and potentially much larger capital inflows over time. Now, another thing I think people underestimate is how global this competition really is. The United States understands that blockchain technology is not going away. Stablecoins, tokenization, crypto payments, digital asset infrastructure, all of this is growing whether governments want it to or not. So now it becomes a race. Who attracts the innovation? Who keeps the companies? Who becomes the center of the next financial system? And honestly, I think Washington is starting to realize they cannot afford to fall behind forever. Now, at the same time, whenever regulatory clarity improves around Bitcoin and crypto overall, attention usually starts expanding into projects connected to Bitcoin infrastructure and scalability too. That is part of why Bitcoin Hyper has started getting more visibility recently. Not financial advice, but Bitcoin Hyper is currently sitting around 0.01368 and has already been featured across CoinMarketCap, 99 Bitcoins, Bitcoin Magazine, and other major crypto publications. The focus is on improving Bitcoin usability and scalability as adoption grows, which is a narrative more investors are starting to pay attention to as institutional involvement increases. Because if crypto keeps moving toward mainstream financial infrastructure, scalability conversations become much more important long-term. So bringing it all together, the Clarity Act is not just another political headline. It is one of the clearest signals yet that the United States is finally trying to build a real framework for crypto instead of simply fighting it. And whether this bill passes exactly as written or not, the direction of the industry is becoming harder and harder to ignore.